Hello, hello, and welcome to a Tips Thursday with Eris Creates from Artpreneurs, where I teach independent creatives how to never have to choose between their art and their again. So today, if you are watching live, please go ahead and comment. Let me know what you think of this content and what you'd like to hear about in the future. If you're watching a replay, please drop a 2 in the comments, and I'll let you know that I've seen your comments. And today I'm going to be talking about Clubhouse and promotion. And a lot of you have been mentioning that you don't even know what Clubhouse is. So I'm going to start with a little bit of the Clubhouse is a new social media platform that has been getting real traction over the last several months, but they were only for iOS. In other words, if you didn't have an Apple device, you could not get on Clubhouse. However, this didn't stop millions of users from joining. So a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon because Clubhouse is different. Clubhouse is an audio platform that allows people to drop in chat. A lot like radio, but accessible to everybody. So essentially Clubhouse is changing the game because we've all been doing a lot of video stuff recently. Zoom has become the go-to platform for video, but not everybody wants to be on camera all the time. And it's not that necessarily to have to get up, put your face on, and get ready and be able to get in front of people with your face, like I'm doing for you here. So make sure to think about whether or not audio is something that you would prefer, because this Clubhouse platform is growing. And there's a lot of people who question whether or not they should be on Clubhouse, specifically my artist peeps. Okay, I was wondering how good Clubhouse was for connecting with other creatives because I wasn't sure if a lot of artists, especially visual artists, were going to adopt the platform. Lo and behold, I got on Clubhouse very recently because I finally got myself an iPad. Woo! I was able to get in on the iOS version. However, Android is coming out. It is rolling out slowly. They are still considering themselves a beta project right now. Beta meaning they're still testing a lot of stuff out, and it is invite only. So while you can go into Clubhouse and you can sign up to hold your username, you cannot get into the full piece of software until you have an invitation from somebody. So you want to make sure that you reach out to your network and ask who has a Clubhouse invite. If you have the ability to get on an iOS device and download it, or if you are now on the Android version that is rolling out, you still need to get an invitation from people. Okay, so, but when I went into Clubhouse and I started to explore, one of the first things they did was ask a little bit about me, like a lot of services will do. What kind of interests do I have? And you're able to decide which types of interest areas you want to focus on. So you can choose things like science or reading, or you can choose things like cooking, makeup, social media. Hi, Amber, I see your name this time. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't see your name on the software. If you are commenting live, you cannot show me your name, but I can't see it unless you give permission to the software. So since I broadcast to a lot of different platforms, whoever you are, it's great if you drop your name and let me know that you're watching live. Okay, so back to Clubhouse, the platform. I popped in recently, about a week and a half ago. I started getting really interested in knowing what exactly is going on in Clubhouse and how are people actually using it? Why are they going? What are they enjoying about it? And one of the things that I think it's really powerful for is making connections in a deep way. And I'll explain why in a minute. But first, you get onto the platform and they ask you a few things about what you're interested in. So you might be interested in things like cooking or makeup or science or technology or entrepreneurship. Doesn't matter. They have a lot of categories and you get to choose as many as you'd like. And they actually prefer it because you know they are going to want to make all of the content really fit who you are and what you want. So it's important that you set that up. And if you don't want to do that, that's okay. You do that process. You essentially sign up with a phone number and you reserve a username, and then when you finally get your invite, you can get into the whole system. And they have these things called rooms. Rooms are basically drop-in chats. And it's audio chat, so it's not text chat. There's no text chat whatsoever. You can't go in there and start messaging people in text. This is literally you being able to turn on or off your mic, if you are allowed to, and chat with people. And it's real time like we're doing now, but without the video. If I could hear you, I would put you up on stage right now. In this video, I'd be like, hey, come on up here and we could talk, and everyone else can listen in. So basically, these rooms are hosted by somebody, and then there are speakers. They bring people into a circle of conversation by allowing them the status of speaker. And they call it the stage. It's not technically a stage in any way. It's just a place to be and different permissions that allow you to do different things in the group. Then there's a bunch of people who might be listening in the audience. They are a little bit lower on your screen. You'll see like all the speakers, and you can look at each person's profile and understand a little bit more about them. While they're talking, they'll be highlighted with a ring around their profile picture. So this is how it all works. And I started to get curious about, why would people want to show up and just sit and listen to people for hours on end about whatever subject? But the truth is, there's some pretty fantastic conversations going on in there. Another question that comes up for a lot of my creative people is, yeah, but I am a visual artist. What on earth would I be doing in there? Why would I even care to go in there? But there are some pretty fantastic people who are really enthusiastic about the art they make, and they're in there connecting while they are. Because it's an audio platform, it's not as distracting to be watching people's faces or have their screen taken up by having to watch something happen. So a lot of people are in there while they're sketching, drawing, painting, or whatever, and they're listening into the conversations. So those things go over really well, and it's becoming really popular for visual artists too, not just the actors, the musicians, and the other types that I've seen in there, but to sit and talk. And the cool thing is, almost anybody's welcome. Some rooms are very liberal and they will let anybody come in and introduce themselves and talk. And some of them are a little more curated. So you just have to look for the ones that fit. But you can always pop in as a listener and just sit down and listen to what's going on around you. Now that is a fantastic part of it right there. Just doing market research, just doing and understanding what other people are thinking about, listening to where they're from and what they're experiencing at the moment, because it is real time across the world, global communication. So you can listening to someone who is, driving in their car, miles away from you, halfway across the world or whatever. And you could also be talking to the person who's in the next room. And that's what's cool about it. You're connected with people everywhere. Now that you may be wondering where I'm going to get to the tips about promoting on Clubhouse. Well, I learned recently how best to do that, because I'm summit. And one of the things I'm looking for very specific subject matter experts to come in and talk to the people in my summit. And I thought, well, I don't want to go into Clubhouse that now has a culture going down, because it's almost a year. So there's a lot of people in there who've been there from the beginning. There's still a lot of noobs. When you go there and you are a new person, there will be a little icon on your profile that will let everyone else know that you're new, so they can go a little easier on you and they can help you through the process. And the way that I was able to get in and get some information about how best to act, the best practices and the best ways to do things, was to go into a group that was super casual and everybody was chatting. And I finally spoke up and said, hey guys, I'm interested in knowing how I might best present myself if I was looking for speakers for this summit that I'm doing. And that was when I got some good feedback. And here comes the tips. So get ready, notebooks out, pencils ready, let's do this. All right, so the way that Clubhouse works right now as we speak, this week today, you get to have a personal profile. That personal profile has a picture of you, and it has 2 other places that you can put people, put your social networks, and they are Twitter and Instagram. Those are the 2 social networks that you can share with people in your profile. This is the only way that people can connect with you out at Clubhouse, and in fact inside Clubhouse, because they can connect with you verbally in Clubhouse, but you may not have the chance to go spewing a bunch of promotional information about yourself. So the best thing to do is to make sure that you optimize your profile with a really good Twitter and a really good Instagram, hoping that you have, 1 or more, depending on how you run your social media. But if you have a business one and you want to go promote your business, make sure you're using your business Twitter and your business Instagram, because that is where people are going to go looking for you. Almost immediately, this is what they're looking at. They want to know who you are behind the voice. So that's tip number 1, is optimize your social media in the way that they've allowed you to do so. this tip number 2 is because people are going to be looking at you because they want to know more about you behind your profile, make sure your Instagram or your Twitter has up-to-date information. So when people are going to look at you, they're going to go to that platform and they're going to check out what exactly they should be doing to understand you, which is the next thing you want to do is make sure your Twitter or your Instagram has some sort of place that they can learn more about you. A link, like if you're on Instagram, your single link should be the thing that you want most people to do, or some sort of information where they can follow up and learn about you or connect in some way. But that is the direct messaging part of it, because Clubhouse itself doesn't have direct messaging. But if you go to Instagram, you can direct message someone. If you go to Twitter, you can direct message someone. This is what people will likely be using it for if they find something they like about you. So you want to make sure you go into those platforms and make sure that they have a way to reach you and that you're looking for your comments and yours, right? So check those pretty regularly. If you're going onto Clubhouse and you want people to take action, they'll be reaching out to you that way. The second thing about Clubhouse that's super powerful is you have just, I mean, I don't even know how long it is, but pages and pages of information that you can put on your, on your Clubhouse actual description of who you are. So because you can put so much information, please take the time to curate a really nice bio that explains what you're all about. And whatever you be really understanding about you, make sure it's top of that. So tip number 3, put really good information at the top of your bio. Now, I don't advocate writing really long paragraphs worth of stuff about you. But if you have an amazing story to tell, if you have a call to action, I suggest putting it right at the top and then getting into the meat of it, right? So if you want someone to do a very particular thing when they find out who you are, let's say you're looking for speaking engagement, make sure that you put that at the top. Professional speaker, open for engagements, DM me on Instagram or something. That's a great way to get people to understand who you are and what they might want to do with you right away. And then you can go into your bio, your story, your origin, whatever. So this is how people are using Clubhouse to promote. Let me talk about the things you should not do. Couple more tips. Promotion is not that like you should drop in to any chat room and go start spewing what you're there for and what you want out of people, right? A lot of people will take offense to that. These drop-in chats are sometimes casual, but you've got to be careful to read the room, almost literally. Read the room. Understand what people are there talking about. Is the subject of the matter very strict and they don't want you to go off topic? Or are people rambling and kind of flowing into different parts of conversations? And can you pipe up at a that is actually okay with people? Because trust me, they are listening and watching and they are feeling who you are. Now, a big part of Clubhouse is connecting with the right people, but a big part of it is also listening to people who are different than you. So you choose what level of engagement you want and with which types of people. Now you can join groups and you can join what's called clubs. Clubs are special interest groups where they have different rooms of topics, and rooms usually have something to do with a particular subject or a particular behavior. Subject might be something like, let's talk about Bitcoin. And then a behavior might be like, hey, we're all actors in this, or we're all people who love to cook. And so you can see how that works because it's kind of like Facebook groups versus an event type thing. So you might have an event that's very specific to a group, but if you're a cook, maybe you're going to talk one day about baking, day you're going to talk about braising, right? So that's how that kind of works. And the ways to get the best opportunities to promote anything is to make sure you're aligning with the right groups, the right rooms, and the right people. And to do that in a non-invasive way. So the way that you do the non-invasive thing when you go in there is you ask to speak, which means someone has to actually allow you into the speaker circle. And you take a moment when you get the chance to politely introduce yourself and ask permission if it's okay to share a certain piece of information or a call to action or to ask a very particular question. Always allow the host to decide whether or not that is good for their room or their club, okay? So that's essentially it for the promo side. Right now, this is still a very new platform and experience. In terms of being a year old, it sounds like it might be wow, well developed, but it's not in process. One of the examples is I have an iPad, but I downloaded the app and it's only the size of a phone. So that's something that's just kind of denoting the level at which they are developed. And I know it's data and there are things that can go wrong. So make sure that you are paying attention to all those little details. And you, as a user of Clubhouse, would be a beta user. And what that means is they're expecting you to be okay with bugs, and they're going to hope that you're going to give feedback when there are problems, and you're going to be a user that's going to help that platform to grow. And once again, I'm going to review. They have been on iOS, meaning all sorts of Apple products, for about a year now, and they just rolled out to Android. Problem might be, though, if your phone is a little outdated or behind, then you may not be able to get Android. So check on your system and see if you can download the official app. The official app has an interesting, a woman's picture that's black and white. She's like looking up to the side like this. And it's a weird logo, but it's the official one. And make sure nobody is like duping you into downloading the wrong app. So make sure you're checking that. I think that's it for today. That is like some really good tips. There's some best practices I can cover at another time. Let me know if you want to see that in the comments, and I will drop in another live and talk about best practices. And let me know what other types of content you want. We've got some mics coming up on Mondays and some tips and tricks Thursdays, and we're looking at some other things that I would probably be doing on another day. So let me know what you think of these lives. Check in with me. Make sure you're reacting to it and leaving your comment, because that really helps me to know what you really need from these lives. All right, guys, take care, and I'll talk